grab your cup as I pour the tea. It's gonna get deep as we unload and get free. Hello, this is Sharon Lady B. Richards. I am super excited for you to join me on this journey of soulful self care and love. This passionate podcast will drop some gems from my courageous guests as they share their journey of what it took for them to accomplish their goals, dreams, and healing.
Welcome to Unloaded, the journey to self. I'm super excited to be on today with these fabulous, as you guys can see, some fabulous men. Today's episode 12. We call it Men in Motion. We're going to drop some gems and some nuggets in this place today. And so welcome to all my podcast listeners. Hopefully you guys will, share this podcast when you're able to get on. But again, I'm back on, so please share. We have a few of our guests today are, listen, they got some great big titles. But the first thing I want to mention is that we've had a lot of issues with relationships. So this podcast is going to address these issues, right? So I have asked some of my good friends to please come and help us, just talk about it. We're just going to talk about it. We're at the black table. The men are here. We're calling it Men in Motion. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about family. We're going to talk about friendships. We're going to talk about money, because all of these things, put a relationship together, right? All of these components bring forth a relationship. So they're important to talk about. But before we even start, we want to talk to our first guest. We're going to talk about our first guest, Mr. Darren Green. Mr. Darren Green is one of my good friends. You've actually been on with me before when I was at Ari Jam Radio.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And he's always got a lot of tea. Darren got a lot of tea to drop, so please listen to him. Of course, he's an executive director of Community Outreach, Priority Kids. He is a president of Blacks in Law Enforcement of America, Long Island chapter, former candidate of Islip Town Council. But one of my favorite things that why I really bring him on is because he is the founder of Emotions, Love, Sex, and Relationships. Come on, that's really why he's here. We want to know, right? He's the founder, and he has so much experience in what he does. I've watched him time and time again, and he knows how to give it straight without a chaser. Okay, and that's what we're going to get from him today. So welcome, Darren. Thank you for being on today.
Thank you for having me.
We have someone that I pulled. He dropped in my spirit. I've been watching him for a little bit. People don't know I be watching. I watch, My grandmother told me to play Fool to Catch Wise, and I do that very well. So Mr. Tim Ralph is here today because I watched him, and I watched his journey. He's doing some great big things too. Let's see what Mr. Tim is doing. He's actually executive at BT in accounting, right? And he's doing some great things, marketing, media, and he's out there being healthy. He's just became a fitness coach, right?
Certified
and so he is training people to be healthy, and we want people like that, who are encouraging us to be our best selves and live our best life, right? And he is also the brother of Miss Cheryl Lee Rowe. Woo, 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 woo. So we got some great people in here. Now we have, welcome Tim, thank you for being with us today. We have this man right next to me. I don't know what to say about him. He's just so much, but this is Mr. Wayne Jackson, aka Oxtail. Listen, he's a celebrity in his own right. I don't know where you haven't played or DJs or where you have not been. I just don't know. Wherever there's great music, he's there for years, many, many years. So because he's a little bit on punishment, he's going to tell us what else he does. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, I work closely with an artist that some of you may know by the name of Shaggy. I'm the curator of all of his music on a new station we just launched in November of 2023 called Bombastic Radio on Sirius XM. I also co-host a show with him on that same channel called Shaggy's Yard. It's a weekly show where we go back and forth with fun jokes and laughter. And as Sharon just said, I'm also a DJ. I play for Road International, which I have now for 34 years. I've been with Road International, coming from Bentley's, the Pulse, the Underground, Village Hut, and of course the world famous Q Club, right up until
Yeah,
today.
big up yourself. Big up yourself.
And still doing it.
We used to be on those lines at Q
Oh,
Club.
yeah. Who was it?
That long line.
You were that?
Still trying to do it to this day. I am a graduate of CW Post, Long Island University. I'm an avid fan of track and field. Now I seem to take more to cycling. You know, the knees can't take it as much. So, and that's basically it. And a father of two sons. Actually, I say I have a third named Zell now because I keep getting these requests from this child named Zell. I don't know. Yeah, so that's me in a nutshell.
So like we share a child.
Yeah.
Wow. You already see how you see? Mm-hmm. Anyway, we're going to start with Mr. Darren. I would just want you to share a little bit about, we just shared a little bit about your title, but we want to know a little about who you are.
Oh well, I'm just little old me, So little old me is, again, you mentioned earlier that being the creator of emotions, love, sex, and relationships, something that was near and dear to me because it was therapeutic after going through a divorce. So I am divorced, but I am currently remarried, happily remarried,
Yep.
and I would tell people this from here on. You heard it from me first. Or maybe not me. I robbed this. I found my rib.
Ooh.
I found my rib. So
Nice.
I am happy. But some of the other things that I've done, that I'm doing, I'm currently the new president of the Central Islip Chamber of Commerce. I'm restoring that segment. Long advocate for civil rights and law enforcement. But currently now, more importantly, I'm working on strengthening the family. Because we realize now that I donated a lot of my time to organizations and things that were, of importance. But the thing that becomes most important now is how do I help my children succeed? And how do I help family get through their relationships and get through the problem, as well as mentoring other individuals to get to a place of happiness? Because I think we all deserve to be happy, but it's easily said, but not easily done.
Right.
So,
Thank you for sharing with us. Mr. Tim, tell us a little bit about who you are.
A little bit about who I am. So I am a father of two beautiful twins, 24-year-old twins, also divorced, but also widowed. So divorced from their baby mother, but widowed from my wife, who I was with for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
She that passed recently from breast cancer. So thank you very much. Very young, beautiful woman, and that was a very tough time in my life. So going through that period, I was wondering who the heck am I going to be if I ever make it out, and I had to reach deep and figure out that I did want to still be here for the people who needed me. So thank God for my twins, because I could have never done it without them. I could have never done it without my children, who gave me the reason and the purpose to continue after experiencing such trauma. So what I learned from that trauma was there is light on the other side. While you're going through it, it doesn't feel like it. You want to die yourself, and you don't see how things are actually going to change, but they do. With time, with an anchor, with people who love you. So my journey is what I'm here to talk about in a way, not from a morbid standpoint that everything goes bad sooner or later, but there is hope if you can find a way and find a reason.
Wow. And that's, we really got to speak on that, because we got to remember we did just come from a pandemic, and a lot of spouses passed, so we can't take it for granted. From COVID, from cancer, from so many things. So we're just happy to have you
Thank you.
to speak to that audience. People have lost loved ones.
Yeah.
You know, we take it for granted, but a lot of people lost loved ones within the last couple of years.
Yes.
So
And
thank
still
you for
losing them
being here
every
and
day.
still losing
Yes.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a tough road.
It's a tough road, but thank God for your children, as you said, right? So you told us who you are, but just tell us a little bit about.
Well, I too was once married. I actually married the young lady I took to the high school prom.
Wow.
Straight from church, actually. Growing up in
Why I knew that?
Jamaica,
I knew that
That's
was you. I knew
stereotypical.
that was you.
Anglican church. I was an acolyte. She was on the choir, and it all evolved there. And I was happily married for many, many years. I believe 14 years to be exact. To which
Wow.
produced my two children. I have a 27-year-old Wayne Jr. and 19-year-old Gavin. And again, I'm quite happy and thrilled to see them now evolve as young men with the challenges that face them now. I think my biggest telling with them and life is the fact that there were a lot of things that my parents, I think, knew that I was into and did. They just didn't necessarily care to talk about it because as a parent now, you sense things, you know things, you can almost feel it before they do it, and
Yes.
so
Absolutely.
this is amazing. And I find myself saying things that my parents said. I say I never liked when they said that, but now I said it. But aside from that, just balancing life, and of course, I am out there dating right now. I don't know if that's a good thing to put out there, but yes, because the DMs and but yes, but life is good right now. Life is always good. I don't believe that I've ever lost. I always tell my sons in life, I don't lose. I win or I learn. There's a lesson to be
There you
learned in
go.
everything.
There you
So
go.
Amen.
just keep
That's
it
it.
moving.
Yeah, that's my. So always got something positive to say, but you hit something that I'm just a little curious about. You said you was in a good marriage for 14 years.
Yes.
And that 15th year?
Well, I can sum it up simply like this. I believe that tradition dictates that times must and always do change. And some people are ready for change. Like I hear the young people say there's levels to this. And I truly believe that when challenges come to you in life, first and foremost, I always believe in conversing before we go anywhere else. There's no reason to judge anyone. I only believe in one judge, the Father up above. So everything else to me is just small semantics that we can hash out. We can always agree to disagree, as they say, as old as that saying is. Right
It's
now,
relevant.
myself and Tim can disagree about something, but we're boys. As soon as we disagree, let's go get a bite to eat, go get some wings and watch the game.
Right.
It doesn't stop anything, and I think that's where people don't get it, And for me, and I can say this, it was a situation. I love being candid, so that's what I will be. For me, it was a situation where it was almost the reverse. Not almost, it was the reverse, wherein she was the one caught with her hand in a cookie jar. And I'm also not ashamed to say this, and what I'm about to say, I was ridiculed for by many of my own peers. And I will say this: it didn't give me reason to want to not be married. That wasn't my problem. My problem is simply this, and this is how I can wrap up how it went down. If I approach you and ask you a question about something, and you have the opportunity to say it, because I took my vows
Seriously.
very seriously. And the Lord said, for better or for worse. Who am I to judge someone when I can close my eyes? I don't even have to close my eyes. I could just say, Lord, please forgive me, and I'm forgiven. Who am I to hold anything against anyone? Vengeance belongs to Him. So, with that being the case, my thing was to simply ask, is this what's going on? Now, the answer came back that was not favorable. Now, unfortunately, I also had proof. I was asking the question knowing the answer. I will not say that I did not know the answer. Right. But my thing was simply this: the most dangerous person in the world to me is not the person that just can lie to me. I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. If I say to Tim, Tim, do you like my white shirt?
Uh-huh.
And Tim says, oh, okay, white shirt. He's looking like, okay, he knows this isn't white.
Mhm.
But he might just, okay. The best question Tim can ask me is, Wayne, what color do you think the shirt is? You told me it's white, but what color do you think it is? If I can still look at this and call it a white shirt, not only can I tell a lie, I want to believe a lie. And that's where she lost with me. Because it wasn't so much that the lie came, it was when I confronted now with, okay, look at this, explain that. It's black and white. There's no gray area. At that moment, you could have simply said, okay, it was me, blah, 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 whatever.
Got it.
And if that's done, we can get past it.
They wrote a song about that, didn't they?
Yes, yeah, well, yeah. And I kind of know the guy that did it. But at the end of the day, to me, that's what's telling. I believe in honesty because we all make mistakes.
I like that. I like your mindset.
Every last one of us. No one's perfect.
I like your mindset. But we're going to get back to that. But I really love your mindset. And that's really deep. Really is. I just want to say that. And thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Thank you for sharing that. But we're going to get into some of the questions because, we only have 50 minutes now, guys. And we have so many questions to go through. And the first questions, I get to pick the questions. So I want to thank all the people who actually sent questions to me. You know who you are. So hopefully you're listening and you're able to get the answers that you need, whether you wanted to hear them or not. I hope they help, right? So my first question to you gentlemen is going to be, what is your love language?
Acts of service. Acts of service for me.
Acts of service.
Acts of service. Yeah, acts of service.
So give me like 2 things that I know Ruth. Hi, Ruth. That is the love language to Ruth.
By doing things, the one thing that I always expressed to Ruth when I met her is that she'll never have to ask me to love her because I'm going to love her voluntarily because that's what I believe in. And so not only do you have to say love, but you got to show love. And there's different ways to show love. But through acts of service, you get an opportunity to really express yourself in multiple dimensions and in multiple ways. And it's not always by buying the expensive gifts. It's about being thoughtful. It's about thinking about, when you come home at night, that, I got the slippers by the door and a glass of wine waiting for you, because I know you had a rough day. Remember, I'm retired, which I didn't even share with everybody. Right. But so those acts of service for me, it makes me feel good, but I know that she's appreciative.
Okay, that was going to come there.
Yes.
Because, acts of service based on your partner, right? Mm-hmm. Because some people want certain things.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That other people may not. Right? So I love that you said act of service, and I love that you said that is act as an action.
Yes.
Because a lot of people talk, right? But there's no action about it.
So let me drop a bomb in the room. Let's set the room on fire. The reason why a lot of people are in the situation that they are because they don't want to do the work. Okay, so if you don't want to do the work, you can't appreciate acts of service. Okay, so
just need a ding ding bell.
Listen, relationships last because people want to do the work. When you don't want to work, you don't want to do the work. Don't say that you want to. You all in, and then there's limitations to what you want to do or what you will do. It can't be that way. It doesn't work that way.
Let me tell you something. Tim, I'm gonna get right to you, but I have to share this really quick with our audience. On my way to the airport yesterday, I met an older gentleman who was an Uber driver. He was just talking, and I wanted to sleep. But he was just talking and talking and talking, and he was just talking, and out of his mouth, and I promise you, this is why I love God so much. He was talking so much that he was giving me answers to questions I didn't even ask him. I was in the back, and he said, just what you said, Darren. He said, and these daggone men, They want all these women and they don't want to do no work. That's what he said at his own. I didn't ask a question, guys. He said it like he was, I guess he was maybe feeling guilty or maybe he was just talking to his friends. But so it's just crazy that you said that.
Yeah. Confirmation.
It was just confirmation. He just started rambling about, this is what he said exactly. These daggone men lazy. That's what he said. He said they lazy and they don't want to do the work.
I concur.
So, that's just what I heard, from a man's point of view. He was an older gentleman. He actually told me he was 63 or 64. And I promise you I wasn't there. I was trying to sleep. I was just in the back, and he had some stuff on his mind that he wanted to talk about. Right. So, Tim, what is your love language?
I'm feeling a good thing.
I wonder what your love language is.
Okay, so that question of what your love language is comes up a number of times. I've in a few relationships that I've had, and I've never really been able to answer that one.
Okay,
so you just put it a good way.
You gonna roll with that?
I'm kind of leaning in on his.
But do you concur?
But no. I'm gonna tell you why I'm leaning in on his description.
Oh,
I'm not just gonna hijack it from him. No, it's the servitude, the service. Right. So I guess my love language is this. What makes me happy is making somebody else happy. So when I'm in a relationship, like when I was with my wife, I always buy things for her, get something for her. I could never come home from a trip and not have something to give, because making her happy made me happy.
Wow, I like that.
And take that a little further, I guess the love language would be, I'm selfish because I like doing things that are romantic. I like waking up and hearing the ocean outside my door and sun setting, and all of that is romantic to me, and that's what I like. Now, I would like to have somebody to share that with, so I guess that's my love language, because it's selfish to me, but it, in a way, benefits others.
Right.
So I guess that would be my love language. It's selfish. And servitude.
and servitude to self. No, but
and your spouse benefited. I get it.
It's funny because I would come back, I'd buy things. She'd be like, yeah, you're always buying me things, but these are things that actually you want to see me. And so, are you really buying it for me?
I love it. See, guys. So I'm going to ask you another question on top of that, since you went that route, Tim. Do you think that hindered your relationship in any way?
No, not at all.
Okay, so she was happy that you were buying things even though they were benefiting you.
Well, they weren't always benefiting me.
Okay.
But for a lot of them were, definitely.
Okay.
But also benefiting her, too. So, no, there were things that she actually loved and appreciated and liked and put thought into. Okay. She actually was shocked because you could actually shop for me. That's good to know.
Okay, I like
that. So
if
I said to her, meet me in Miami and don't worry about buying anything. Your clothes are on the bed waiting for you. She knows she ain't got to worry about that. She doesn't have to wear another dress just in case. She knows when she gets there, it's going to be straight.
Wait a minute, guys.
But that makes me happy, see? But I'm doing it for her.
Wait a minute.
Listen, this is a good man.
Wait a minute.
Listen, I was going to, say, this is a good dude. This is a good man. I mean, listen, you didn't give us a pad. I need to take some notes right now.
Wait a minute, because I need a pad myself. Well, because that's really, what I really love is the fact that, because I really want to know how your wife felt. Because it's one thing when men do things for women, but as a woman, sometimes I feel like you may have given me a gift. Let me speak for all women, because I do have a women's group, so I can do that. A gift that you gave your last person that I may not like.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm trying to go with it, because I feel like, are we taking the time out to know the people that we're involved with, the people that we're dating, the people that we're married to? Are we taking the time out, or are we saying, okay, all women love roses? Or maybe my person doesn't love roses. Maybe she likes lilies. but you giving her a rose, and she's like, "Yeah, thank you so much." In her head, she's like, "This dude know I love lilies." You know what I'm saying? So we taking the time out to know what our woman want,
and that's putting in the work. Yes, most definitely.
Right. So that goes back to the original questionnaire when you first got involved. See, what happens is people don't understand that there's a process to getting involved in relationships and dating. There's questionnaires, there's question and answers, and sometimes people are just not asking the right questions. You know, if you really love this person, if you really dig this person in the beginning, you're really feeling them, what happens is you're going to ask the right questions because you want to enhance your relationship with them. So you want to know, what type of food do you like? It's simple as that. So you should be asking those questions. What type of roses do you like? What's your favorite color? You know, things of that nature, because this is part of the training ground. See, I got a friend of mine, we have a mutual friend that doesn't like this, but we all are being trained, I use that word for a reason, in these relationships. And that's part of, the servitude, is because you're taking in this information and you're using it later on because you took in something and it's part of your servitude. But if you don't take nothing in the questionnaire, then you end up where you are. Because he didn't hear me when I told him I don't like roses, or I'm allergic to roses and I like lilies. He bought what he wanted to buy.
Right.
And so that's where...
And I want to say, as speaking for women, that is a big deal. That really is a big deal. And we do sometimes fake the funk because they want to say, we'll say, "Wow, thank you for the roses," and we'll put them on Instagram and whatever and say, "Wow, the roses are great." But in our mind, we're like, "But he didn't hear me 500 times that I like lilies." We will do that. So that, I feel like that could be an issue, an unspoken issue.
Most definitely. It's putting in work again, right? So let's say you see this dress that she's going to look beautiful in, and you know it's going to look... You like it in green because green's my favorite color. Her favorite color is red. Do I get the green to make me happy, or do I get the red to make her happy? Get the blue. It's neutral.
Get the neutral color.
And we're going to try something
new. Blue for me and you. How about that? I like that thought. But it wasn't my favorite. But okay, so I like that. That's compromise.
That's good. He does it
that
too.
Was good. Okay, Mr. Wayne Oxtail, what's your love language?
Well, let me start by answering like this. So now that I've jacked 1 and 2,
you got 3 minutes.
I'm going to open up a can of worms with mine now.
Lord have mercy.
So what they said is part of it. The next part, and this is where some might have a problem with me with this, I do believe, again, that there's a structure, meaning, and again, no disrespect to any other genders or whatever the case may be. I'm just talking my life, man and woman. I do not believe in equals when it comes to that.
Okay.
I do believe, I'm old-fashioned, that the man has more of a burden to bear.
Okay.
Just my opinion.
Okay.
Meaning, not from just the emotional standpoint. I'm talking from the standpoint of being the provider, being the protector.
Okay.
Let me say that one again. Protector.
So is that your love language, being the protector? Okay, go ahead.
But for her, reciprocating to me, it's just a matter of appreciation. And I'm done. I provide, do this, that. Emotionally, we're already bonded. We work on it every day because it never stops. Okay. There's no such thing as we reach a plateau. Our relationship is perfect for the next 50 years.
Right.
That's not how it works. It's a work in progress every day. But the appreciation, and it goes both ways, of knowing that, okay, yes, I will take out the garbage at 10 o'clock at night. I don't want you walking down and putting out the garbage 10 o'clock at night. And I'm not trying to be chauvinistic saying you cannot.
Right.
It's just, I don't mind doing that.
Right.
You don't have to cook for me. Of course, no, you don't. But if you choose to, I appreciate it. And my reciprocation might be, you know what, you cook, let me wash the dishes. I don't know. But I'm just saying that give and take and understanding that at some point, somewhere, even at work, there's a president, there's a vice president, there's a hierarchical system that we follow. And to that, I'm not saying it has to be separate, but I do believe there needs to be a leader, a patriarch, like that holds the fort.
So let me pour some gasoline on and I think your answer is valid. I'm not going to dispute that. But so it's almost like you're indicating that there's roles that need to be played to some degree, because her role, and it can be easy. Her role as a woman versus your role as a man
Well, I'm not going to say roles, not to cut you, but not really roles, because I could be a man that can cook better than she can.
Yes.
So it's not really a role. It's just, can we kind of like, I don't know what word am I looking for? Just like, if you're better at something than me,
then let's do it.
There's nothing wrong with you doing it, and not because I'm the man. So what? I cook, and I might like cooking more or do it even better.
Right.
So what? Let him cook. That doesn't make me less of a man.
No, you're right. No, it doesn't.
It just makes things work a lot easier. It's just that simple. I can wash
I
the
agree
car
with you.
1, 2, 3. She might come out and be like, okay, where do I start? It's not the worst thing in the world. She just never possibly learned that. I might have done that with my boys my whole life. So it is what it is. But I have no problem if I had a daughter, which I always want. Anyway, I would have no problem braiding her hair. I would love to learn to braid her hair. Are my lines going to be as straight as mom? Probably not. But, that's where,
Right.
maybe to go to school, okay, daddy braid your hair. Okay, it's okay. Okay, we're going out to a function. I'll do it. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
You know?
I get that.
So it's understanding, working together, and appreciating each other. And take nothing for granted. No one has to do anything for you. Take nothing for granted.
So because it seems like you're really passionate. The reason I'm going to ask this next question to you is because you're dating.
Hold up. Before you go to the next question,
Go ahead.
we just heard all the men's point of view on this love language thing. I would love to hear your view on what your love language is.
This is really not about me.
I know but I need to hear a female point of view on this one.
Just share a little bit.
Come on, let's hear it.
A little bit, just based on what you guys said. Honestly, I understand where Wayne is coming from. I do, and I also understand it's hard to articulate it. But I also feel like the biggest challenge of what he's saying right now is that we're so far from that. In my opinion.
Okay.
Agreed.
In my opinion, we're so far from it.
You're talking about the masses in general.
And the masses in
Okay.
general.
Agreed. Yeah.
I feel like we're so far from it. And are you willing to have a changed mindset? Because we're so far gone from a lot of things that we all grew up on. I want to say just basic love language, basic how we grew up, basic values, has changed from what we know, what we saw, what we thought should
without a doubt.
So, are we willing to change with the times? I was sharing with you before, me personally, I want somebody to invest in me. I want to know that you know who I am. And it doesn't have to be in the totality of it, but I don't want to be just another female that you're dating that you think is cute or attractive or whatever. I want you to retain who I am when we speak, especially when you first talk to somebody, talking on the phone with them for hours. And women, it's a test. It really is a test.
But you just said
I
something.
know, but
that
it's
is
a
very,
test
very
because
telling.
when we're talking to you for hours, we're gonna come back to that. So when you send me,
So there's a test.
yeah. So when you
quiz later,
right? So, but it's an action quiz.
So there's a test later.
Right.
Right.
See
Based on your action.
Right.
Okay.
When you
Work-
pass
so
it
hold on.
out.
So they need to write this
When
down.
you were paying attention.
When
Right.
you pick, so y'all was on the phone and did the damn bug. We was like, okay, we can do it. But were you listening?
But with that said, see, you said something in the beginning. You said we're so far removed from certain things, and I guess I'll be called old-fashioned. This is
But
one of
not
the
that it's
reasons.
not that it's bad.
No. Not that it's bad, but
Yeah.
this is why certain things I stray away from. If I need to have a conversation, texting isn't going to do it for me.
Right.
There's no emotion in it. There's no understanding. There's
Nowadays, that's all everybody does. This
Years
generation.
ago,
Completely misunderstood.
years ago,
Totally.
quick example, my cousin said, I have tickets to the Prince concert. Do you want to go? I was busy. All I said was no. Why you have to say it like that?
Like what? I just said no.
I said no. And I think that I'm actually scared. I tell my sons all the time, I pray you find women that can deal with what you do. Because how can you get to know someone
Right.
via social media and text? They literally go to restaurants. I'll sit with them and they say, that young lady's nice. And my eldest son, and he's like, excuse me, to the waitress, what's your Instagram? I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And that's where it starts.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah,
me,
bad.
the breakdown has happened already. And
But that's how I started it too. When I said to you guys, there's so many avenues for people to tap into people, not like before.
Right.
Remember, you had to pick up a phone to get somebody,
Yeah.
and they had to be home. Now you can DM them, you can go on social media. There's so many ways, and it really has brought a disconnect. In my opinion, I've seen a big disconnect, and that's why I pose the question again. Are you willing to change with the times? If you have somebody who has all these great attributes, but she likes to text, are you going to date her? Because, because here's the thing.
Listen, I feel sorry. I really do. And I feel sorry for anybody that has to date right now.
Say it.
Because if I had to date right now, I'm honestly, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably be sick. Because it is, you don't know what you're getting. Too many misunderstood things, and you're not going to get that one-on-one conversation that allows you to get to know that person.
Exactly.
And that takes away from the love, even creating a love language or understanding that person's love language, because you don't get to spend time with them. I just want to bring up one thing that you just said. You mentioned that in the quiz,
right,
that will be given
Sorry,
later.
ladies, I had to
The
give a
quiz,
little secret.
the quiz that will be given later, right? Is that I hear a lot of women say this: men don't listen.
Men say it themselves.
Right.
They do.
I want to clarify something for the world. We do listen.
Okay.
But what is listening? Is it an action? Is it a verb? Is it a noun? You got to look at this. You go back to school, right? I heard you, but doesn't mean I have to do.
Okay.
So people misconstrue that with listening as an action verb. It's not. Listening means I heard you, but now you want me to perform something after I listen to you. That is not fair, because you said you don't like the color red. I heard you. But does that mean that I don't need to buy red? No, that's it. You don't like. So I heard what you said, but a lot of people look at it and says we don't listen. No, we do listen, but you want action after the listening. And that needs to be clarified.
Okay.
Because if you want me to do something, then you need to expressly say that this is what I need you to do.
And that's for men. I totally agree with that. You have to be specific, because we're not complicated. I say it to women all the time. Men are not complicated. If you tell us A, we'll stick with A until A falls off the track.
Right.
We're like, to a fault, we will stick with it. But if you let us know, well, no, this is what we're open to, or this is what then we'll work with that, because we're more, I feel that we're more simplistic than women by far.
Ooh, wow.
Like, we're just, honestly, if they write the words and just give us the book, okay, we got you. No problem, I got this, no problem.
Tim, I want your thoughts on this whole thing.
Come on, Tim. You started her up. Come on, Tim. You started her up. Come on.
We know you're a widower. So, and you probably have you been dating at all?
Yes, I have.
So, how is it dating after your wife passed, if you may?
So, it's been challenging, and it's been difficult. Not for me, more for the women who I'm dating.
Okay.
So,
give us 2 reasons why. Give us 2.
So
Take
one
time's sake.
One, they always feel like they're dating somebody who's missing a ghost. So you're with me because somebody else couldn't be here.
Okay. Okay.
The dramaticism of how it went down is something that just doesn't go away. So it kind of follows me on a day-to-day basis because it's a major trauma. So yes, but they have to deal with that, and that's not easy. That has not been easy at all. Even when I'm cognizant of it, it's still.
Right. So do you still feel like you need time? Are you still healing?
That's the other part of this equation is that with the dating thing, why I say I'm not really having a problem with it is because I'm letting God guide those steps. As a kid, I was out there trying to chase one thing. And
right, got it.
Things have changed. Exactly.
We're all been
there. Yeah. So if that's what you're doing, then I can see people saying, oh, it's so difficult out there. Not really if you let God handle it. Right. Let him tell me which way to go. Stop hurting people because you're not ready, and I'll let you know when you are.
Tim, come on. So, that was a whole
science right here. This
knowledge
being dropped right now.
This
knowledge being dropped right now.
Come on,
and I totally agree. I totally agree with that one.
Yeah, that's knowledge right there.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Wow,
that is the truth.
And it took some making some mistakes to realize that.
Some or a whole lot.
A few.
A few lessons learned.
And I profusely apologize.
See, we got a whole national apology. That's thanks for dropping. That was a whole nugget. A lot of women needed to hear that too. And wait a minute, Wayne agreed with it.
Yes.
That was a big deal. I want to talk a little bit about how important your financial stability is for a relationship. The short answer. How important is it as far as stability? We know it's important because we got to eat and all of that. But as far as the stability of the relationship,
at what stage of the relationship? That's what I need.
I'm in the stage where you
ready to commit.
Yeah, where you're ready to commit.
I think it is essential. It's like two things really matter in a relationship. A lot of things matter. Okay, you can subcategorize it. One is sex. The other one is money. It's finances. Because people would say if the sex ain't good, I ain't staying. And two, if he broke, I don't want to be with him. Or she's broke, I don't want to be with him. Okay. But I think the older that you get, that you kind of put that into where it needs to be. So there are moments when you're a lot more mature as an individual, man or woman, that you can look at somebody's financial situation and not really hold that, if it's not good, not hold that over their head because they're a good person. And that you see that they just have life struggles. Doesn't mean that they're not where they want to be. Now, if you have somebody that's financially unsound, but they're also foolish in their ways of doing things, then that raises a red flag. Okay, right. But when you meet somebody who's been through some challenges,
is that a deal breaker?
For some people, it can be. Okay, finance is right. Like, listen, I asked my wife not so long ago. She said, "Baby, I love you. We going. We ain't never gonna part. We're gonna be together till the day is over." But she said, "Should something happen,
right?" She
goes, "I'm married for money next time." I did the love thing. And I'll tell you, but I would marry for money next time. I'm like, really?
Okay. So. I'm trying not to laugh too loud. I need one after that one. Okay. Did you guys hear that? Okay. Darren is a married one.
Yeah, I'm married, yeah.
All right. How important is...
It depends on what stage of life you're in.
I did say that. Like, you're committed. Okay. Or you thinking about committed, and there's two things that's hindering it. Is that one?
It should be. But when it comes to true love, all of that goes right out the window.
There you go.
And you will do whatever.
You're about to have me ask a really, really important question, but we're going to hear from...
You nailed it.
What? When it comes to true love.
Do we need to go to the Bible on that? What 2 Corinthians? Love is patient.
Listen, I know we got a whole...
Love is patient, love is kind.
I'm telling you.
Well, okay. I need 1 minute with you with that. 1 minute.
For me?
Yes.
It's not a deal breaker because, as Darren said, if a person just had a few bad moments, but they're not a bad person, I can work with that.
Okay.
Because they're not going to stay where that let's whatever we're calling bad is.
Right.
They're looking to elevate. They're looking to, and the support is there. We are going to do this. So that dynamic takes over, and then now I just top it all off. You know, the cherry on top. When love is involved, you know, everything else just goes out the door.
Okay. No, so might sound like a corny question, but it's, you all said this true love thing. What's true love for you? I mean, we know Ruth is your love, okay. But I just want to know, what was the next level for Ruth? Being your experience in life and all the things that you know.
Right. What it was for both of us is that, that, and what Tim had said earlier, hurt people, and we're spending a lot of time intentionally sometimes hurting people. That's a level of respect. So, I got rules. I got some instructions when I first got with my wife, and she gave me some rules to the game. Don't disrespect me. Don't put your hands on me.
Right.
And don't hang up the phone. Because that's rude. It's disrespectful. So we understood that. As long as I was willing to play by those rules. Okay. And what happened is it turned into a communication thing. I talk to my wife at least 30, 40 times a day. Sometimes. I mean, we talk in the morning. We talk in the morning. We talk on the way to work. We talk while she's at work, when she gets a moment, when she's not busy. We talk on the way home. We talk at night. We talk over dinner. Because we understand each other. We took time to know each other. We took time to ask those tough questions. And we fell in love with the spirit of understanding that we didn't get certain things in our past relationship, and we dedicated ourselves to giving each other what we needed in this relationship. And don't deviate from that. Don't deviate from that. This is what I need. See, I always ask the question, what do you want, what do you need, what do you expect? Okay? And we got all of those boxes checked. And we do it every day, even unconsciously. Right. We serve each other every day. It's about servitude. You said that earlier. And so for us, it just became a dynamic thing. And a lot of people, I want everybody to feel the dynamic that I feel right now. I want every man and every woman to experience the love I'm experiencing and the level I'm experiencing. It is the most wonderful feeling in the world. And people have been searching for this their whole lives. Right. Okay.
So before I even get to you, Tim, I want to say, Darren, but we go back to the facts that you said it's an action.
Yes.
Because I feel like people like the warm and fuzzy feeling of love, but they don't understand that it takes work. You just said 30 times a day. People trying to talk once a week. They trying to talk every other day. And I just feel like that doesn't work. Especially for women, I agree with Wayne that women because we're emotional beings. That's how God made us. Some women, I guess, are not emotional, but I believe it comes from circumstances. I feel like typically we're emotional beings. We want to hug, we want to feel, we want to know. We're nosy, we want to know stuff, and that's just how we're innately, made. A few of us are not. I'm just saying for the mass of us, right? So, work is required to have a relationship.
I'm going to throw a plug in here. Shout out to John Gray, the author.
Okay.
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Right.
Read that book. I read that book a long time ago when I was going through my first divorce. It really explains what you just said. We need to understand the differences that we have as individuals, as men and as women. And once we understand the differences that we do have, it is up to us as those individuals to decide if you want to play or not.
Right.
And if you want to play and engage, then you're going to listen. I'm on Team Ruth. Ruth is she's on Team Darren. So guess what? That don't change. That don't deviate. We have little bumps here and there. Right. Yeah, but guess what? Right. We in this thing to win it.
Right.
Because it feels amazing.
So good.
We never run out of conversation. Ever. Because can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
This question is for us, okay? Because I wanted to ask this question. When did men or women stop dreaming about what they wanted in life? Because we never have, and we still. That's what makes us communicate. Because we still got goals and dreams.
Got goals and dreams.
Did Did
I never
it for
stopped.
anyone
I was
you're
about
doing?
to say, I haven't.
I haven't stopped.
I have
You haven't
not
stopped.
stopped.
I haven't stopped.
Okay.
I understand a lot of people have.
Yeah, a lot of people have, but I haven't stopped.
But I have not.
I haven't reached a point of giving up. Nothing. I'm
And that's
still
why
dreaming.
we're called men in
Everything
motion.
is possible.
Everything
going,
is possible.
We're moving
guys,
forward
they're
every day.
forcing
Totally
it
agree.
forward.
Right.
I like what you were saying though about being in love. So I never knew what it was like to be in love until I met my wife, and I thought love wasn't possible. I thought it was just something that people just wanted to
Because that was
feel.
a question I was going to ask you. Because, I innately felt that about. I'm feeling now. So I just knew in my gut that your wife was a person that you fell in love with, and probably the only one.
Yes.
I'm right.
Most
So
definitely.
how did that happen? Give us a short version, just because of time. Because we're gonna need a part 2, guys. Because I'm excited already. We just almost done. Tim, how did you know you was in love with your wife? And what was her name? What is her name?
Her name was Tamika.
Tamika.
And she lived in Atlanta and I lived in New York.
Uh-huh.
And she actually was a social media influencer way back when the industry was just starting. So she had a show similar to this.
Okay.
Miss Kitty After Dark in Atlanta.
Ah.
And I was looking for, this was the beginning of the whole internet business. So we were doing business together. And I would go to Atlanta and we would meet and we would talk and we would have dinner and days and nights would just turn into one.
She was gorgeous, guys. I've seen some pictures of Miss Kitty After Dark.
Yes.
Beautiful lady.
Thank you. So we just really just ended up being really close.
Was it like Darren said, you was talking a lot, you kept talking?
No, with us it was love at first sight. The minute I saw her, I
So
fell
is
in
that
love.
a
I agree with
feeling?
that. Oh,
Is that a
She
feeling?
took 3 steps and I fell in love. She walked towards me, 1, 2, 3, I'm in love.
listen.
Really?
Give me a fist.
That's possible?
I'm with you. Same thing. Same here. Same here.
I know it.
No, okay.
Yeah, it is
no,
possible.
you can't just say that now. You
No,
gotta
it's
give us a
possible.
little details. Was that a feeling, not just based on her looks? Was that a feeling that you felt?
It's definitely a
A
feeling.
warm, fuzzy feeling?
Very warm, fuzzy feeling.
And she
Just
felt the
fact that
same way?
Because at first she was trying to impress me with these nice heels on. She'd just come from doing a show. She was looking great. And we were going to walk to the restaurant, which is only across the street, but I could tell that these shoes are killing her. And I'm like, girl, why don't you take them shoes off?
I'm on the
She
floor.
looked at me and she said,
I'm on
thank
the
you,
floor.
Jesus.
I'm on the floor.
She took them things off me. She took 2 steps in her regular feet. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, I'm in love. And I know exactly where it happened. I can tell you exactly where it is. To this day, I go by and I go 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
I changed everything.
Love every minute of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got the love at first sight thing. So give me what was the qualities that she had that you fell in love with? What was that?
One, it was always positive. No matter what was going on in her life, no matter how much she disliked somebody or something, she would never, ever. And I mean, this goes through every chemotherapy she had to go through, right down to the end. She was always looking forward and thinking that things were going to get better and that things are going to be positive. And that was it. You couldn't tell her nothing else. Even when sometimes it might be a little bit in your best interest to realize we're in a situation here.
Right.
The little
She's always
counteraction,
positive.
you're going to do things your way because you're positive. I get it.
Okay. Were you able to have a conversation where that you could meet a middle ground, or?
Oh yeah, often.
Okay.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But it would take us, because we did spend a lot of time talking.
Okay.
So we were able to break those
You're able to
defenses down and
Okay.
somehow get to a common place most of the time. Not always, most of the time. We were both Virgos, so that was a little bit of a give and take, wasn't always there.
So, just to speak on her behalf a little bit, what did she love about you?
I don't know.
That is crazy. She never expressed it?
The things that she would express were coming from a place deep within her that only she could feel, because I've never heard those things expressed about me before.
Okay, so give me one thing.
Nah, I can't do that.
Not one thing?
I can't do that. I really can't.
Your smile?
Well, yes, that's like.
Okay, so now we know.
Well, she also liked the fact that I never stopped dreaming myself. So that was the
Okay.
other thing. So a lot of times she would want to do things and she would have an idea and she would want to act on that idea.
Okay.
And a lot of
that's a big
ideas
thing.
sometimes you have to put action behind it, but not every idea is actionable.
Right.
So I would have to be the one to identify which ideas were actionable
Okay.
and how we were going to
So
proceed.
that's great.
So,
That's a good nugget.
but it's
Right?
something she liked and hated at the same time because so you have I'll give you a better example why she kind of didn't like me because you have this show, beautiful show, and now remember this is back in MySpace days when it's on and you're not on YouTube yet. So in my mind I'm thinking we have to build the audience, we have to start monetizing, build the audience, monetizing. All she's thinking about is my next guess
I get
who I'm
it.
gonna.
I get it. I get
I'm
it.
like, no, we have to direct. This product needs to be.
Because but that's your skill set.
Yes, but now it's become a business and it's no longer part of the passion. So that was something I learned that you don't overstep your bounds. But it was something she loved about me and something she hated about me at the same time.
Okay.
I had to think more of the
That is
business.
deep. You know why?
That really is
You
deep.
know why? I've heard that a lot. It's called a takeover spirit. When you know, listen, God gives us gifts and talents.
Right.
So when His talent kicks in,
right.
It's automatically going to lead and take over, and that's hard for some women. That's hard because you don't mean to do it, but it's a natural occurring chemical compound that happens in men. That okay, we got to do this, this, and this, and so I get you 100%.
That was a lot. That was good. Thank you for sharing that because that is a great big dynamic in some marriages, especially now. I just heard somebody say that black women have the most businesses right now, and so now, especially post COVID. So I'm thinking about all these married people or people in relationships who's like, oh, I have my person, and now they've opened a business. And so now, what role do you play, especially if you have, skills in media? And do you want to play a role? Is it going to cause an issue in your relationship? This is that's a whole different discussion. But so thanks for sharing that. So it could actually cause an issue in a relationship if you're not on the same page. But I feel like there's so many ways to get on the same page if we take our egos out of certain things. Sometimes we just, that's a whole different thing. Anyway, Wayne, what are your thoughts?
On I don't even remember exactly what that original. I'm taking everything like a sponge, so because there's a lot of information being given here and so many different angles. But could you refresh my mind as to exactly the point that I was supposed to be speaking on? Because honestly, I lost it.
I mean, basically, we want to know, like, as far as you being... I want to ask you, though, because you're out here dating in a time where, honestly, is, in my opinion, and I think all of us can agree, it's very challenging, especially when you have a lot of set values.
Right.
So, help the audience in navigating two things that you maybe found as a challenge that you were able to break through.
The biggest challenge for me when it comes to dating is honesty. And if you break that with me, it's a deal breaker immediately. It's so.
So is it a problem that you see now that
I see honest? That? Yeah, immediately. For whatever reason, I'm not enamored with materialistic things. But I do believe that if you work hard and you want something, you should go ahead and get it. That doesn't mean that you're now worshiping that car or whatever, piece of jewelry, whatever it may be. So with that aside, if you have an ulterior motive, just put it out there. If you, like, a young lady once came to me and says, oh my God, Oxtail, I heard you're single and, I've liked you since Q Club days. I say, yeah, really? What's my real name? So you're telling me Q Club closed how many years ago? 30 years ago, you liked me. And now, no point you thought to say, what is his name?
Right. But see, that's the same thing we're talking about. Women have to put in work too.
Right.
What am I supposed to really take from this? And then now,
it's funny because I think like that too. I do.
And then you would have, again, there's certain things that have, as I, can apologize. Okay, I'm sorry that happened, and keep it moving or whatever. And someone will approach me knowing very well they have some carnal knowledge of me.
Mm.
You know why? I dated their friend.
Oh.
And their friend spoke highly about me, and they felt that their friend didn't deserve me.
Wow.
And here they come, but they don't tell me of the friend. They just tell me, I like you. I'd like to take you out. How would you? I'm like, okay.
That's grimy business.
I'm thinking,
that's grimy business.
I'm thinking everything is okay. So for me, my conundrum is always, do they like Wayne Anthony or do they want Oxtail?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I once put a young lady's name on a guest list for an event I was at. Actually, I forgot to put her name. I walked to the front to put her name on the guest list. Coincidentally, she's walking in, but she can't see behind the glass. I said, oh my God. I told the girl, I said, that's her. I said, she's my guest. So the young lady had her name. And she said, hi. She's like, I'm on the guest list. She's like, what's your name? Oxtail's guest. That's not what she asked you. She said, what is your name? See, for me, I had a problem with that right there because you identified as Oxtail's guest.
Right.
Instead of it
Why do you want
yourself.
everyone to know that you're Oxtail's guest? I need you to be you.
Right.
And then let me.
So do you find that a lot? Is it that a lot? It's like a problem? Because we know that comes with who you are. Like,
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but it doesn't, you know, I'm not big on flash and all of that. You know me. You definitely know that. Like, I mean, I get it.
And that goes back to my question. Can we adapt to some of the things in order to get to the prize? That's just something
I don't think that that's something that I will ever adapt to because, you know, the house that was built on sand. So I need my foundation to be
solid.
There you go. So if we're going to start, let's start right. So if you want to look at me straight and say, listen, I don't know anything about you. Your name is Oxtail and I'd like to get to know you. You get a lot further with me than making me think something else. And then later on, throwing a whole monkey wrench in it. Tell me we're going
straight
out.
Talk. That's straight talk right there.
Tell me we're going out to dinner and listen, I need you to pay for it. We're going out to dinner, but can you pay for it?
Right.
I'd rather you do that.
Right. Than fake something. Right.
I don't know.
Straight
I
talk.
feel like, no, to be honest, you know, I have to say most women don't think that way.
Oh, I get it.
So,
I get it.
And I consider myself a pretty down-to-earth person recently because, you know, we grow up as women. As I tell people, I read every Harlequin romance book there was. I almost failed junior high school. I almost failed junior high school. I had to read the next one coming out. And so we romanticize everything.
Can I say two things real quick? Two things. One,
and I'm down to earth and I still do it. So it's hard. Doesn't mean I'm a bad person.
Two big things that I want to say right now. One, we need to do this again. All right? I put that out there. Same panel. Okay. That's number one. Number two, I need to really let it be known. Me dating at 16 was different. 25, 35, 45. The dynamics have changed. Because I'm going to tell you something that I even did. And my children know this. And this is how I knew my boys started dating. My boys actually came to me and wondered if something was wrong with me because they never saw me with a woman. And I had to tell my sons, the reason why you never saw me with a woman is because when I decide to commit, I'm all in.
Right.
Yeah. And at my age, dating, a woman could have children.
Right.
And if she has children, her children are going to get a dad in me too. No, I'm not their biological father, but I'm not going to half-ass on being a father figure. Right. I never wanted my two sons to feel as if they lost a part of me because I was no longer with their mother. And then one day they both had a conversation amongst themselves and said, we need you to start dating. We don't like this. Listen. And I could not believe it. And because of that, I need you to understand that dating has more dynamics now with the children. You know, we're older. We have parents that are older. We end up taking care of our parents, plus our children, plus it's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
We think about pensions, health coverage. There's so many other things now that we didn't think about when we dated earlier.
And, you know, to get that up, I didn't even say this earlier, but I'm remarried. We have 4 children together. I had 2 girls, and she was a
Right.
boy and a girl. They're all grown. But that dynamic was just that. I wanted to be a. I had a stepdad who was an evil dude. It was horrible. I didn't want to be that guy.
Right.
If I was going to be a stepdad, I wanted to be the best stepdad possible, and I prayed for that. So kudos to you, man, for really, treating your boys that way, giving them a safe space. Which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But that is great, great.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, that's wow.
In the essence of time, I had to throw that in.
I know. There's so much. I mean, we're gonna wrap it up a little bit because we're gonna have to have a part 2.
But I already put it out there.
I'm like,
I didn't hear any objections.
No, hey, let me know when. I'm down.
Let's say
do it.
when.
I'll be back.
I want to ask a question a little deep to wrap this whole thing up because I know it's gonna be a little bit of time. So I'm gonna give everybody like 3 minutes, 4 minutes to answer the question. How important was your upbringing? How important was it for you to understand what a good relationship is today?
You want me to answer that?
You,
Okay.
you,
Okay.
you.
How important is understanding?
And I want you to answer it in a way where it can help somebody. Because I want to make sure that when you answer the question, good or bad, whatever happened, because I know you mentioned your stepdad, how it may have affected your first marriage, but helped your second marriage.
All right. So, listen, I grew up around sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I got introduced to everything very early.
Right.
There was a lot of going on in my house every day and every weekend, from drugs. It was, listen, I seen things as a 7, 8 year old kid you never see.
Okay.
So my upbringing was rough. It was tough, and I'm a Long Island kid, but it was always some drama. Okay, and how that affected me because I had a stepdad, and I had to watch my mom go through this dating cycle and even dating men that were abusive to her. So for me, it's like I can't see a guy put his hands on a woman today. I'm pulling over because it doesn't sit well with me. And how that affected my relationship growing up my first marriage was because I always thought that because we were poor. We didn't have a lot of money. So I always thought that the misconception was the more money that I made, the better my relationship would be.
Did you guys hear that?
Okay. And so in my first go around, that's all I was thinking about growing up.
Was about the money.
It wasn't about having a connection.
Right.
It was about making the money, and then everything else would fall in line. And then I learned the hard way that after almost 20 years, we were high school sweethearts, that it was no connection and we grew apart, that how important it was to now make sure that which is why I created Emotions and why I interviewed hundreds of women, or if not thousands of women, was understanding what I needed to do as a man based on my upbringing is to make sure that I didn't repeat the dangerous cycle that my stepfather was a womanizer. He bared children from a whole other family that, my mom found out about, before she passed away. And it destroyed her.
Did you realize that your upbringing was affecting your relationship while you were in your relationship?
Yes, okay. I did. And so I was constantly working. You said something earlier, and this is my stepdad. We spent our lifetime trying not to be like our parents, but end up like our parents.
Can you say that again so people in the back can hear?
Yeah, we spent our lifetime trying not to be our parents, but end up being our parents. So when you said earlier that when you first started that you were saying things that your parents said, okay, let's not get away from that because they were giving us golden nuggets back then. We can only hope that the nuggets that we get from our upbringing that we can pass on to our children, which I don't think our children are receptive to, based on the times. So yes, my upbringing was a hard factor for me, and I was aware of it, and I just wanted to not be I didn't want to be that man that was abusive, that was a womanizer, but in reality, in my first marriage, I became that. I became that dude. I became that guy, which is why, and I'm going to end this on my side, through my downslide, through my dark days, I prayed to God after I got baptized. And I said, God, if you give me one more chance to be a husband and to be a better father, I promise you, I'll do your work, and two, I'll fulfill it. And he blessed me. And I got the greatest woman that a man could. I found my rib. Amen. And so I'm a better husband, I'm a better father, and I'm working on being a better friend.
Wow.
Because he gave it to me.
Wow.
Because my upbringing,
I can't even sit
my
in my
upbringing
chair
affected all of that.
Okay, Tim.
Can't follow that one right
listen,
there.
But listen, because my ears are very clear. I heard when you said your wife was the only woman you've ever loved or fell in love to get married to. So I know you got something for us. There's something behind that.
All right, I got something, but I don't know if it's going to be as deep as that. Though.
Okay,
so my upbringing, as far as what my upbringing would have to do with knowing I was in love, is the question, or being in love?
How did your upbringing affect your relationships?
Okay, my upbringing affect my relationships. Interesting. So the one thing about our family is that my mother is Jamaican and my father is American, and they've always been separated for almost as long as I can remember.
Okay.
They didn't get officially separated. They didn't get no divorce. This is way back in the 60s now. We're talking about way ahead of their time. My mother just knew she wanted to go back home and go back to Jamaica. My father had to stay here and be the provider for the family, and he was heavy in the education. So we grew up separately. So my whole youth growing up, all I wanted to be, I grew up in Jamaica. Me and my younger brother grew up in Jamaica, in Kingston. My older brother and sister was back and forth a lot.
Okay.
So the only thing I wanted to do was to get my family back together, because I felt like I was the reason why we had split. You know, young kid always getting in trouble, carrying knives to school, trying to beat up kids in the playground to get attention. Stupid kid.
You was that kid.
Stupid kid. Then you got asthma, running home, chasing the kid home, and you have asthma on the way. Yeah, everybody like, I'll get you. Yeah, anyway. But mommy wasn't there to help me with all of that. So I always wanted to be with her. So when I ended up being sent back, because my father was like, yo, take this kid, because I can't handle him right now. All I wanted to do was come back. So now I'm with my mother, who I always wanted to be with. But we're not together. The family unit is. I blame myself for that. So all I wanted is the family to always try to be together, but I'm used to it being apart. So it's like a self-professing prophecy.
Got it.
That as much as I try to put it together, it's still going to be apart. So I ended up growing up and being older, always saying goodbye to somebody, because I had New York, I had Jamaica, I had Atlanta, and I'm always leaving somebody.
So
that sucked.
How did you realize that it was affecting your relationships?
Most definitely, all the way around. Mm-hmm. And again, I had to just give it to God and let Him figure it out. I didn't agree with what He decided, but
Tim, I can't let you. I don't mean to make something bad sound funny, but it's just the way you said it. You know, because honestly, we're gonna be real. What Tim said was very, very deep, but Tim makes it seem.
I like it.
Tim makes it seem like, by the way.
Well, he's walking by faith, not by sight.
He really is. And no, we get why you're saying it, but I'm just saying it's very profound. We have, we want the listeners to understand that. Your wife was basically the first person you fell in love with, and it was at a late age in your life.
Mm-hmm. After many relationships.
Yeah, after many relationships. After being used to walking out. You were actually conditioned to walk out the door. So you were conditioned. And that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. So, let me ask a little question. Don't take it too personal, but I really want to ask for the audience. Do you think your growing up and you being in a relationship was dangerous? Being in a relationship? No. Did you? I want to say it. Let me say it differently. Did you know going in that you was going to be going out? At
With
some
her?
point? With any relationship you were in?
With everybody else?
Uh-huh.
More or less.
Right. So that goes back to what even Wayne was saying.
So,
okay.
But.
And I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit.
But, okay.
Okay.
So.
You got the shovel out.
No, because I know. I'm already catching you. I got to dig deep to get you. Go ahead.
Okay. So.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't get into a relationship knowing that I'm going to be going out. I get into a relationship wanting this to be the one.
Okay.
I want this to be my energy, the interest, the attention. I don't want it to be wasted. I want this to be it. Okay. That's why I can't have multiple relationships at the same time. That
confusing you.
Yeah, I can't put my energy any place that makes sense, that is going to be worthwhile. Right. So no, I don't go into any relationship like that. That's a waste of my time, a waste of your time. Okay. And I wouldn't do that unless.
So I really have a thing, because I'm going to go to Wayne, of course. He's going to answer this last question. But for me, one of the reasons, if I'm going to be really transparent, is one of the reasons why I personally wanted to have this platform is because I feel like there's so many things that we haven't addressed and we don't address in relationships. And sometimes we point that finger, but the other finger need to be here. And I find in any relationship that I'm in, and that now that I'm more aware of who I am, because I kind of grew up, I'm talking about friendships also. Right. Friendships, marriages, my daughter, all of that has improved for me because I'm more aware of who I am. This is why I went back to, do you go in aware that there's something broken? Do we go into our relationships? Because a lot of times we want to say we're looking at the other person, but have we looked at ourselves? Mm-hmm. Right? And are we ready to be in a relationship? Because we're actually, like you said, broken people hurt people, right? So are we going into these relationships? And I mean any relationship. I'm talking about friendships, sororities, whatever thing you're going into, broken. Have we addressed the elephant in the room, which is us? Mm-hmm. No. Right. So that's going to be topic 2, because we're going to dig so deep into topic 2, because I feel like if we really, because I understand that dynamic, because both of my parents are Jamaican, but my sister, she actually had to grow up in Jamaica, my older sister. And so because we were separated, it causes this separation, and you got to build this relationship up. And I felt like you, like, where are we? Thanksgiving and Christmas and all this type of things. And it does bring a sense of brokenness to your spirit, that now you're carrying around, but you want love to heal it, and it can't heal it
because you can't receive it.
Right, because it's right.
You know it's going to end sooner or later.
The precursor, right? Prerequisite. He's in his mind. Like you said, it's going to end.
So, I want you to. Did you hear the question?
I think you realize now that happens a lot. By the time you get to me, it's like, okay.
But you still have so much to say when it comes to you, so come on now.
I actually took time to remember the question this time. I'm experienced with my panel now.
Right.
I will say this. My upbringing definitely had an effect on me and my relationships. Okay. To an extreme fault. To the point where I definitely don't want to be anything like my father. Nothing like him, as far as being a father or a husband. And with that said, I think it also played a negative role, not only in my relationship with my ex-wife, but with my friendships also. Because I felt like I had to give, and not look for anything. And when I say anything, I don't do anything now really looking for anything in return. But you cannot exist in this world alone. No man is an island. So you need people, just the right people.
Right.
And I don't think I ever felt that, because I think, like with my mother, what she tried to do was shield me, but she herself was being abused. So at the end of the day, she's trying to shield me. And at a young age, I wanted to protect her.
Right.
So as much as she was trying to shield me, she never realized, I'm not listening to you. I'm trying to protect you from him. So that, especially like I would say with my ex-wife, I gave and I gave and I gave and I gave, and never saw who she really was until it was too late.
Yeah.
Because, as my grandfather says, if a person like fish and you keep giving them fish, they're just going to keep eating fish, right?
Right.
But if you teach them how to fish, maybe they still like it, but maybe they won't.
Right.
My ex-wife never had, in my opinion, that opportunity, or I never gave her the chance to say, okay, who are you now? I just kept, this is what you do. Trying to correct all the wrongs I saw my father do.
Right.
So I'm doing everything that I thought he should have done for my mother.
Right.
But it's the wrong person.
Right.
If, you know, my mother might have needed that, but I'm dating now. Why am I bringing that relationship into this one? And like you said, we have to continue and talk again, because my parents have now been together 58 years, I believe.
Wow,
but
brutal.
They put up with things that, again, we don't have as a dynamic now. We just don't have these things, you know, and it was less complicated for them. You know, I find myself, I don't want to say damaged, but I definitely paid a price. And I think that's where the whole thing that I said earlier, trust is big for me. I don't want you to tell me anything just to tell me.
Right.
Don't say to me, oh, well, like, kind of what you said, but a little different. I don't want to trivialize what you said about women feeling like you're trying to fill a space or whatever the case may be. But as everyone can see, I have vitiligo. Don't date me because you think I cannot get women, or like I've heard women say that to me. Like, well, I figured you know, and I don't know how it is for you. And I'm telling you, but
wow, that's bold.
But to those that know me, they know he don't have no problems. No, that's not his problem. So, but there are women that think that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So again, for me, it's tell me what's up. What do you want?
Right.
You don't. Oh, you just want some money? Oh, okay. No, you know whatever it is.
I have an answer for it. Just give me the question.
Let me know what I'm dealing with.
Let me know what I'm dealing with. Don't tell me you like some of my favorite movies. Let's do it again. Claudine, Coming to America, because you want to get something that I have, or
I get it.
You know, you want to meet the entertainers that I'm around or whatever. Tell me that. Listen,
right.
I just want to meet Shaggy. Come on, can I? Okay,
right.
Cool.
Right.
I'll let you meet Shaggy, and we keep it moving.
Right.
It's not a problem.
I understand. Now, I'm really starting to understand where you're coming from as far as that. I'm getting that. But with all that said, we have so much nuggets today.
And I want the audience to know that I still respect my parents highly, because I am an old Anglican boy. Honor your mother and your father, that thy days may be long in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. That is one of the commandments, so I do.
Did you guys know that we have pastors on the panel? Everybody gave us a scripture.
Hey, I'm just putting it out.
Everybody, and the right scripture too.
Hey.
They gave it. Listen, I appreciate you guys so much. I had so much fun.
Thank you for
But
having me.
I do want to leave it with, we have to do this again, because I do personally feel, there's always something for me. Just like you guys mentioned, God gave me this podcast to do. I am doing so much right now. It's ridiculous. But like I tell people, I didn't like to get beaten when I was a kid, and I don't want no beating from God.
Oh, I have mine already.
Listen. I remember when you got yours, and so I listen. And when I hear him, I listen. And I really love you. Kept saying it. You're just following his lead, and I feel like that's the biggest thing for us to do right now. To hear from him and to follow his lead, because
Amen.
The word says, my children perish through lack of knowledge.
Yes.
So we're walking around with our heads in the clouds. We don't know what's going on. You're getting hit by a car. You really have to hear from him right now. And that's what I'm doing. This is why I have this podcast, not just because I want to be up here, but I want people to share. I feel like we need to share. And I feel like you all did an amazing job sharing. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you, because you all brought something so unique to the table. I do on our next one, I want to talk about healing. What does that look and feel like? Because you went through so much to find true love, despite, your challenges. Darren went through so much. You had to get divorced, to figure it out, to get remarried. My goal in life is, I don't feel like the ones coming up after us have to go through every single thing we went through. I feel like learn something.
They gotta listen. I mean, listen. They gotta be responsive
Yeah.
to the word that they've given.
Which they're not.
Which they're not. We can all agree with that.
This is what I'm trying, and I say it all the time, even when I'm flying. God has me flying for a reason, because when I come up there and I listen to these young folks, I'm like, wow, this is serious.
Can I say something to that too, please? I just want to let folks out there know, because one of the big differences between all of us here and the youth of today, when our parents told us something, that was pretty much the law.
Oh,
we didn't Google anything and try to find anything out. But I want to make this point clear to all the younger folks out there. If you Google, is eating chicken good for you, you'll get the reasons. If you Google, is eating chicken bad for you, you'll get the reasons. As we would say back home, you have to pick sense from nonsense. And that's the part that's missing with our youth today.
Yes.
Because they're not understanding there's going to be pros and cons to everything.
Yeah.
What we try to impart is to say, look, we know the pros and cons. Please try our way.
Right.
But they still choose to, because they will literally go online and find reasons to justify what they're doing.
Yes.
And I say to myself, okay, do you not hear the commercials when they advertise all kind of medication for you? And I always laugh because it says, ask your doctor. I say, if I have to ask my doctor, I don't need him as a doctor.
Right.
And then at the end, I have to hear side effects may include.
Right.
Why is that so fast? Like, I tell them, that's life.
Yes.
Think about it. They're giving you a quick fix. We're trying to give you a long term.
And experience. We have experience.
Yeah, well said, man.
And that's the key.
Yeah.
Experiences.
We have experience.
Yeah, we could go on about that. I mean, I woke up the other night and I try to share with my kids as often as I can. But I woke up last night, I think it was, and I shared with Ruth, and I was like, baby, I'm afraid for our children. And I say that because I'm afraid because the steps that they're taking, they're not always what we're saying, they're not applying it. And, they hear it, but there's no application to it. And like you said, I stepped in that pothole. Don't step in that pothole, but they don't. They gonna step in the pothole anyway. And so now that's a break you don't heal that quickly. Mm-hmm. I don't want you to experience that pain because everybody can't deal with that. Right. I made it through, but that means you built that way. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is that fear factor for me as a parent, for me to even say that, is that this world is a crazy, dangerous place, and it's not like us. And I think the more trauma that we went through and the era that we went through it is completely different from what they're going through now. Right. And it's scary. And I'm afraid that I'm not always sure that they're all doing well, but I'm not always sure they're going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. The kids today, they're so sensitive.
Yeah, they are.
They are very... So, hard times create hard people. Soft times create soft people.
Yes.
We are going through a very soft period.
But I think sometimes we have a lot to do. We had a lot to do with that because we were determined that our kids weren't going to go through what we went through.
Very true.
Oh yeah, we
So we
created
created
it.
all of we
Yeah, we
created
the
them.
monsters.
Oh, but trust me, but I spoil mine. But again, I let God handle this. God said, I'm going to take this from you because I see that you're spoiling them a little bit too much. So the path that I'm going to have you walk down and they will walk with you is going to harden them as well because you all have no choice.
Right.
So that's believing and having faith that he knows what's right and then walking it because if you fall left or right on some paths, there is no coming back. So you better stay straight.
Right.
I feel like this. We're gonna wrap it up here, guys. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank our sponsors, Anaz Spa Oils, Anaz Spa Boutique, and everybody else who is listening today, coming on. Thank again our gentleman here. Tell us when are you on with Shaggy?
Well, as the curator of Boombastic Radio, it's a 24/7 channel on Sirius XM, and you can hear a variety of music, which I personally have programmed on there. And you can also hear Shaggy and I in Shaggy's Yard 7 days a week, various times on the channel.
Okay.
So, thank you.
And I know Tim has become a new certified trainer, guys, just in case. And I watch him. He's not a phony. He's actually on that bike every day.
I am.
He's on that bike every day. So listen, we want to let people know that's what you're doing, and we're excited for you.
Thank you very much.
And so people could contact you. Definitely have you. And
don't forget to check out the NAACP Image Awards on BET. This year is also going to be live stream on CBS, and that's March 16th.
Right, there you go. Program director. There you go.
Right, there you go. BET.
Right. And for me, this doing some little things. I'm currently in process of creating a men's forum.
Okay.
And the reason being is because just what we started here. This is something I've been working on for the last couple of months. So when you called and asked, the reason why I said yes, because it was already something I was working on. But I think that men still need a place to really just talk about day-to-day stuff.
Absolutely.
And they need somewhere to go, somebody to lean on, because this world is such a terrible place. It's a hard place, and it can be a beautiful place, because the world is a beautiful place, but the world can be unkind and unforgiving, and you just need to be able to have an outlet. And so I'm working on, which will be up shortly, of being able to give men an outlet so that they can speak their truth or this. Share their feelings. Because they don't have a safe space. They don't have a safe space. And that's something we can talk about next time. I appreciate both of you gentlemen for sharing, is that safe space in relationships is really also important. Right. We can talk about it.
So, guys, you've heard it all here. We've shared so much. There's so much nuggets and so much meat here. So many things. Hopefully, you guys can take something away to help you in your relationship, or just help you in your own personal life. Because I don't believe everybody is ready for a relationship. I just don't. I believe I've learned that the relationship needs to start with you. Have a relationship with yourself. How about that? And I think you show up as a better person when you have identified who you are. And I mean the good, bad, and the ugly. And you work on it. Because we stop pointing the finger. Because we're always going to point the finger unhealed, right? So again, thank you guys. And I really want to talk about that. Talk about that safe space for men. Because I believe men really do need other men.
Yeah, they do.
You guys need each other. You guys learn so much from each other right now. Our listeners learn so much. So thank you again. Thank you for our sponsors. Again, Anaz Spa Mobile and Anaz Body Oil, which I have one for each and every one of you today.
Thank you.
Right? Again, this is episode 12. Men in Motion. We have the black table here. You're going to meet us back at the black table. We're going to be back here next month, guys. I'm going to get y'all. I don't care what I got to do. I'm going to DM y'all and stalk y'all. I don't care doing there's no shame to my game.
I want to see your Valentine's Day show.
No, and that's really good because this is I wanted this to drop before Valentine's. So, again, you can find us on every podcast platform. We're going to be on Strong Island TV. I'm not sure the date yet because I really want us to get this out, correct?
Yes,
So we
absolutely.
do everything
Absolutely.
correctly
A lot of good
excellence.
information.
And again, so bye guys. We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
having us.
joining
I
us.
appreciate it.